The September sun cast golden rectangles across the polished marble floor of Westridge Financial as Zara Matthews pushed through the heavy glass doors. Her charcoal business suit was impeccably tailored, and her natural curls framed a face that radiated quiet confidence. At 34, Zara had built Horizon Technologies from a startup to a multi-million-dollar enterprise, but today she wasn't here as a CEO. She simply needed to deposit the check from her grandmother's estate and discuss the possibility of establishing a community development fund. The bank lobby hummed with midday activity, customers standing in neat lines before each teller window. Zara checked her watch, 12:30 p.m., and joined the shortest queue, mentally reviewing her afternoon schedule. Trevor Daniels glanced up from his terminal, his pale blue eyes narrowing as Zara approached his window. Unlike the warm greetings he'd offered previous customers, his lips tightened into a thin line. Next, he called flatly, not making eye contact. Zara placed her ID and the substantial check on the counter. "Good afternoon. I'd like to deposit this and speak with someone about establishing a community fund." Trevor barely glanced at her identification. "We don't cash checks this large without an account," he stated coldly, pushing the check back toward her. "I have an account here," Zara replied evenly. "It's listed on my ID." Trevor snatched up her driver's license, scrutinizing it with exaggerated skepticism. "This doesn't look like you," he declared, loud enough for others to hear. A heat rose in Zara's cheeks. The elderly white man behind her shuffled uncomfortably. "Perhaps I should speak with your manager?" Zara suggested, maintaining her composure despite the public humiliation. "Look," Trevor hissed, leaning forward. "We get people like you trying to cash fraudulent checks every week. I'm going to need additional verification." "People like me?" Zara repeated, her voice steady but tight. "You know what I mean," Trevor replied with a dismissive wave. "Let's not waste everyone's time. There's no way this check belongs to you, and I'm not processing it without my manager's approval. Wait over there." He pointed to a bench in the corner, already turning to gesture the next customer forward. Before Zara could respond, the bank's glass corner office door swung open. Regina Patel, the regional director, emerged with a broad smile that faltered when she spotted Zara standing at Trevor's window. "Ms. Matthews." "What a pleasure," Regina called, hurrying across the marble floor. "I didn't realize you were coming in person today." Trevor's face drained of color as Regina embraced Zara warmly. "Did your assistant not inform you?" "I rescheduled our quarterly meeting since I was coming to deposit this," Zara explained, gesturing to the check still sitting on Trevor's counter. Regina glanced at the check, then frowned at Trevor. "Is there a problem with Ms. Matthews' transaction?" Trevor stammered. "Trevor here seems to think I'm attempting to commit fraud," Zara stated calmly. "He suggested, people like me often try to cash fraudulent checks." Regina's expression hardened. "Ms. Matthews is our largest private investor and sits on our regional advisory board. Her company, Horizon Technologies, is financing our entire digital transformation project and community lending initiative." The bank fell silent. Every customer, every employee stared openly at the unfolding scene. Trevor's mouth worked soundlessly, his fingers trembling against the counterpoint. 1 week later, Zara sat across from Regina and Marcus Yoon, Westridge Financial CEO, in the bank's downtown conference room. The glossy table reflected the city skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows. "We've terminated Trevor's employment," Marcus stated firmly, sliding a folder toward Zara. "His actions violated multiple bank policies, but more importantly, they violated our values as an institution." Zara nodded, her fingers tracing the edge of the folder. "That's a start, but I'm more interested in systemic change than punishing one individual." Regina leaned forward. "We agree completely. That's why we've drafted this comprehensive reform package." Zara opened the folder, scanning the documents inside. Her eyebrows rose as she read the bullet points: mandatory quarterly anti-bias training for all staff, anonymous customer experience surveys with demographic tracking, community advisory panels for each branch, and a new loan program specifically designed for minority entrepreneurs. "This is impressive," Zara admitted, "but who ensures implementation?" "You will," Marcus replied. "We're establishing an independent oversight committee, and we want you to chair it. Full access to our data, processes, and leadership team. Zara considered this. On one condition. Every branch holds monthly financial literacy workshops in their communities, free of charge. Banking shouldn't be intimidating for anyone. Regina smiled. Done. We've already secured space for the first workshops next month. 6 months later, Zara stood on a small stage erected in the community center of Oakwood Heights, the historically black neighborhood where she'd grown up. Over 200 people filled the room, many standing along the walls. Children darted between chairs while parents chatted animatedly. Today marks our 6th financial literacy workshop, Zara announced into the microphone, and I'm proud to say that 16 Oakwood residents have already secured small business loans through Westridge Financial's new community development program. Applause thundered through the room. Seated in the front row, Regina and Marcus beamed with pride. Behind them sat 10 Westridge branch managers, all taking notes. My grandmother used to say that real change happens when good people get angry enough to do something about it, Zara continued, her voice carrying over the crowd. What happened to me at Westridge wasn't unique. It happens to people who look like us every day. The difference is that I had the power to demand better, not just for myself, but for all of us. An elderly woman stood shakily, raising her hand. Ms. Matthews, I've been banking at Westridge for 40 years, and this is the first time I've ever seen them in our neighborhood. How do we know this isn't just for show? Zara smiled. Because I'm watching them. We're all watching them. And because they've hired 5 Oakwood residents as full-time employees since January. More applause erupted. A local news crew captured it all from the back of the room. As Zara concluded the formal presentation and people moved toward the refreshment tables, she noticed a familiar face lingering by the door. The elderly white man who had stood behind her in line that fateful day approached hesitantly. Ms. Matthews, I'm sorry I didn't speak up that day, he said quietly. I knew what was happening was wrong. Zara studied him thoughtfully. What matters is what we do next, Mr. Harris. James Harris, he replied, extending his hand. And I've signed up to volunteer at next month's workshop. We all have something to learn. Zara shook his hand firmly, the setting sun through the windows painting them both in the same golden light.